Welcome back to the Armchair Pundits Podcast. This week we have another special. We have best goalkeeper in the Premier League era. We will decide between the three of us, our top 10, and then we'll do a combined top 5. So, how you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm all right.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
I'm doing
This is
good.
it's not a bad topic, bruv.
I'm not looking forward
This
to
was
it in
done.
the slightest. I,
This was done before it even started, mate.
and because of you two, really. So I'm gonna keep any kind of plaudits and praise to a minimum. Yeah.
Nah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. But before we get into it, thank you guys for watching every week. It's been good seeing our reviews go up and up. So don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe as well, because there's no point to watching, not subscribing, and to hit that notification button as well, so that you can get notifications as soon as our new episodes come up. On another note, I'd like to thank all of you. Really appreciate. We have reached 200 subscribers. Listen, we started it a long time ago in my living room with some of you guys, and we took a long hiatus, a long break, but came back a few years ago. And it's since we come back, it's jumped, and I think even this season, it's picked up really well. So really appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and continue to do so. Continue to share, make broadcasts in your WhatsApp if you have to, and whatever else you need to do, because we're not going away, and we're running away to reach 300 and beyond. But once again, thank you for helping us get to 200 subscribers. So, without any further ado, what we've done, so we've kept it quite simple, really. So we haven't got any games or anything like that stipulation. It literally is just the best 10 goalkeepers in our opinions in the Premier League era. Obviously, you can't have someone that's played a couple games in the Premier League, but they played loads of games before the Premier League. So yeah, significant amount of games in the Premier League. So I know you weren't too keen on going first, so I'll go first with my number 10 goalkeeper, and the reason why I think he's my number 10 goalkeeper. So number 10 for me is Pepe Reina with 297 appearances, 136 clean sheets, clean sheet average of 45.79%, and minutes per goals against, 100 minutes per goals conceded. And honours wise, FA Cup winner, League Cup winner, UEFA Super Cup winner, Charity Shield, which is minor, but he still won it. And he was also, before they scrapped it, he was goalkeeper of the season 3 times. So for me, he was my 10th choice. So
did he get into any of the team of the seasons? Pepe.
I imagine he would have. With being
Yeah, I would have
goalkeeper of the
thought so.
season, being goalkeeper
Yeah.
of the season, he would have got
Yeah.
into the team of the season.
Team of the season as well. Yeah.
So yeah, and he was an excellent goalkeeper. He had his downfall towards the end when Brendan Rodgers came in. I don't. They didn't see eye to eye. Some people may say he was really on his decline beforehand, but I blame it on Brendan Rodgers. I blame it on Rodgers. He came in and then he just dropped like a stone, and then he brought in Mignolet, and then that was a wrap. That was disastrous. So yeah, Reina was just excellent. He played in an era where you had Rafa Benitez, who admittedly was more defensive than other goalkeepers, other teams and other managers, that were out there. So it probably helped with him getting as many clean sheets and having such a good clean sheet average. But yeah, he went on to win stuff after Liverpool with Spain. Obviously not as the first choice goalkeeper, but it's still an accolade.
Yeah, of course. You got to celebrate that still.
Yeah, that's a solid keeper, really. The tail off the drop off was a bit steep, but happens.
But his peak was high.
It was high. Yeah.
Did you say he won the Premier League as well?
No.
Oh, no, I thought it cut out. No, I thought it cut out. Honestly, I thought you said
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. I can't feed through that nonsense. Go on, then tell me yours then, Lamont.
In mine? Oh, well, you
talk.
know what? I know we've gone for like our top 10, yeah? And I'm going to go, you know me, going to rock the apple cart just a little bit. But in honesty, I'm not trying to draw anybody else out here. I feel like this guy deserves a lot of credit. Yeah? A lot of credit. And he goes by the name of Shay Given. I think a lot of people might look at me like, what? Just pause for a minute. This guy was integral, yeah? He was probably one of the best keepers for a long time, I would say. I'd argue in and around the 2006, 2007 era, he kind of had Newcastle in a way where even though they finished around mid-table, probably just above mid-table, he was still outstanding. He was probably one of the only reasons why they managed to stay in the league that season, bro. And I think even United went in for him at one stage. There was talk about him moving out of Newcastle, but again, you know, his roots were where his roots were. He didn't want to leave. I know he ended up going City in the end, but, you know, that was his business. I honestly do believe he's underrated. I feel like he needs some credit. He definitely got in team of the season. I remember that much. And I think for that reason, he's my number 10. He didn't get, you know, many... He didn't get no golden gloves. He didn't win no trophies, unfortunately for him. And I feel like that was just because he didn't leave Newcastle at the right time. I feel like if he left there, he definitely would have won trophies with us. When I say us, I'm talking United. But yeah, unfortunately, he had 445 games, sorry.
That was your pick?
Yeah, so yeah, Shay Given's my pick. He's 445 games. 134 clean sheets. Just looking here on another sheet, I can see that he's won one FA Cup. So, you know.
And one league. He won the league with Man City. That's what I was trying to say.
Right, when he went off to Man City, yeah.
He didn't play.
He didn't play.
I mean, it's one of them ones, he was on the team sheet.
Yeah.
I feel like he was... To be honest with you, though, boys, I think he's more recognised for what he done at Newcastle for them, for him
100%.
going to, you know what I mean, City. So I'm recognising him for the Newcastle stint rather than the City stint. So I appreciate that. I got that a little bit wrong. Yeah, all right. He won the Premier League and the FA Cup, but I definitely feel like his Newcastle stint was way more recognised. So that's my number 10.
Yeah. My number 10 is I went for Joe Hart as my number 10. The drop off was steep, but he won the Golden Glove 4 times as a keeper, 2 Premier Leagues, and there were times where in the season they won the Premier League. He was integral to that team. I think his problem was his era where the keeper needed to play football, and that's not something that he could do. No. So, for the number of years that he was in the Premier League, I think he's not someone that really gets spoken about too much at the minute. You just remember that the bad stuff,
the drop off. Yeah, definitely.
You just remember the fall off. So I put Joe Hart as my number 10.
I blame Pep. Like he may have been slightly on the downslide then, but Pep came in and was like, "No, I'm not having none of you." And I think it didn't even knock his confidence. It ripped it out of his chest and then threw it under trains and buses and everything. And I don't think he ever recovered from the way Pep just turfed him.
Yeah, I think to be joint, I know that it's about defences, but to be joint top with the Golden Glove, you have to be a bit of a decent keeper as well. So
yeah, you can't knock him though. He had ability in it, but I think his confidence, he wasn't strong mentally. So I feel like if he done anything wrong in a game, that was it. You know, you can.
I think he was. You know.
I don't know.
I think he was.
I don't know.
Don't you remember them times when he used to be like, "Keeper, I know where you're going. I know where you're going. I know where you're going, big man." He was shouting at striker.
Yeah, I know. I think he used to do that. But he used to put on a front. But I honestly do feel like mentally, like if he had a little wobble in the game, you could get at him. He was one of them keepers. He couldn't reset.
I don't know. Earlier, I think in his heyday, when he was top of his game, it wasn't the case. I think when he started to dip and when he lost form, yes. But I guess that's what happens with form, innit? It's hard to get it back when you're a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I think when he was at the top of his game, I don't think mistakes bothered him. I think he brushed it aside personally. But he's number 10, I guess.
Yeah.
So ironically, he's my number 9. And for me, I looked at it: 340 games, 127 clean sheets. Clean sheet average of 37.4. Goals wise, he conceded a goal every 80 minutes, which isn't fantastic. But I think that dropped when he went to Burnley. When he went to Burnley and stuff like that, then the goals came in a bit more. But like you said, accolades, 2 Premier League titles, 1 FA Cup, 1 League Cup, and keeper of the season 3 times.
Yeah.
So
it looked like he got a couple League Cups in there, innit?
Yeah. I think 2 League Cups. 2 League Cups.
Yeah, 2 League Cups, yeah. 2
League Cups. So he was decorated, and yeah, as I said previously, the drop off was real, man. And it was Pep's fault. It was Pep's fault.
Yeah, would you argue though? When you talk about people like Joe Hart, would you kind of say that he was protected by his centre backs? I know it probably sounds a little bit, obvious to some degree.
He had Richard Dunn.
Right,
at points at Man City, and this Dan and people at times at Man City, I'm pretty sure they were in front of him at periods. So I don't know. I think he earned his right to get to the top of his game. Maybe you could be right in terms of staying there too long. He was protected, England-wise, with the centre-backs England had, potentially. But I think he earned his way to the top. He was very good. But he was probably there a bit too long.
Yeah, the 2 Golden Gloves speak for itself, innit? And,
3.
Team of the season as well. All right, so my number 9, it's pretty obvious. It's Mr. Hart himself. You guys have touched on it already.
Yeah,
so we don't need to go on too much. But yeah, he don't deserve anything higher than that for me.
My number 9, I don't know if it's a bit of a cop-out, but I think he reminded me of another keeper in this list. And his stint in the Premier League wasn't that long, but it was good enough to get him a move somewhere else. So my number 9, I went with Courtois as my number 9.
Okay.
Wow.
But he only became number 9 because he only had 4 seasons in the Prem. But I think what he did was enough for him to get a move to Real Madrid, really.
I thought you might have had him up further up the list. I don't know.
Yeah. No, but I the reason I didn't have him further up the list is longevity. I don't know, like 4 seasons. I know we won 2 Prems or whatever else, but 4 seasons. There's other keepers in this league that had.
You're going to be surprised with my next one then.
that had a longer period in the league, and that's why I went with him at number 9. But he would have been higher. I'm not discounting what he did, but he was good for that period where he was at Chelsea.
Okay.
Can we see how many games that he had in the Premier League, roughly?
Yeah, I've got it. Because I was going to add it to my one. 126 games in the Premier League.
See what I'm saying? That's no easy feat. I mean, I know there's some keepers that have done a lot in that time.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a team game, so...
It's fair.
Yeah, I'm not trying to... it's fair.
We'll judge it. You see who's higher than him, innit? Because it might be justified by who's higher.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's on the list.
You'll be surprised by number 8.
He's your number 8?
My number 8 is Ederson.
Really?
Yep. I said,
how?
Listen, forget the accolades. I think as a goalkeeper, there has been better goalkeepers. And when you say someone that's been protected by quality centre-backs, he's one. For me, his left foot is so good that it overshadows some of the weaknesses in his game. That's what I say. He's the best passing goalkeeper you ever see in your life. He will ping it to the right winger and they'll score and it'll be nothing. So that's an accolade. But I think there's other parts of his game. When he comes out, one-on-ones.
Have you seen his CV, Jay?
Yep. Listen, it's not just about CV. I'm talking about the ability of the goalkeeper. The ability of the goalkeeper. There are better goalkeepers with the ability. I'll give you an example that will come up later. There's someone else that
All right.
there's someone else in our league that has less titles than him and is playing league with him that's better than him. So you can't say have you seen his CV, because if you flip the clubs, then you always say look at the CV. If that person played for Man City, the accolades he have, people will probably say he's the best ever goalkeeper we've ever seen in life.
Do you know what? He's starting to look a bit fallible, isn't he?
Yeah.
There was one point where he was looking like he was unbeatable, and then he started to look a bit like there's some
for
chinks.
me, that was when Pep wasn't playing around with his centre-backs as much. He always had his two set centre-backs. Now that you're not seeing the centre-backs, the same centre-backs every week, you're seeing it. You're seeing his weaknesses. This is for me anyway. But listen, I'm not going to knock him completely, because 261 games, 119 clean sheets, clean sheet average of 45.6%. Minutes per goals, he's got the highest. He's got the best out of everyone on my list. 114 minutes. But again, he's playing for probably the best team.
And I would say, he's playing for a team that keep the ball. So
exactly.
them stats need to be up there.
Premier League title 6, Champions Leagues 1, FA Club World Cup 1, Super Cup 1, FA Cup 2, League Cup 4, Charity Shield 3. So when you said, have you seen his accolades? I've seen his accolades.
Yeah, he's
but
decorated,
I still think there's other goalkeepers that, as a full package, are better than him. People will laugh because they may see people further down this and be like, "How?"
Listen,
but that's just me, innit?
That's
my number 8. That's my number 8.
Be honest.
He's going to your number 8.
I'm gonna be honest. That's a horrible call, Jay. He deserves better than that. He deserves better than that. So, my number 8 is your mate Bev, Jens Lehmann.
Yeah, do you know what?
Do you know the reason why I put him in there?
What,
and I'm gonna be real. Yeah, simple. You know me, bro. I say to you, and I've said it on this pod so many times. Yeah, I'm a moments man. To be honest, when it comes to football, and some things do not leave my soul. And he was integral for you guys in that invincible period. Yeah, without a doubt. In terms of personality, in terms of leadership, you know, just overall for me personally, just from outside looking in, because obviously I'm not reading up and looking up on Arsenal too much, but like he was noticeable, one of the big names on the sheet. You know what I mean? Like you guys had a core amount of players that were playing week on, week out, and the system worked, and Jens was key. You know, he's played over 199 games, you know, I think over 70 clean sheets, team in the seasons. But I'll tell you what, one thing I couldn't find, and I searched everywhere for it, the one thing I couldn't find was Golden Glove. And that kind of told me why a lot of people will be like, meh, I get that. Because I guess you weren't getting too many clean sheets out of him.
You could,
in terms of on a season to season period.
You lot are killing me by doing this, innit? You lot really, move on. I don't want to say anything. I'm done.
But honestly, don't you feel like Jens deserved the top 10 though?
I don't think so.
No,
really?
I don't think so.
There were times when he was too rash, man. There were times where like he'd get the ball and then I see him throw it into the back of a man's head and give away a penalty and all kind of foolishness.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
He'd lose his head. Like as good as he was, sometimes he'd just lose his head, man. So yeah, Jens Lehmann.
148 games, clean sheets 55.
Yeah,
and 106. To be fair, goals is 106 minutes per goal. So he's up there in terms of not conceding goals.
That is true, but
and 37.2 was his clean sheet average percentage.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. It's just not my goalkeeper. I didn't rate him. And the guys on my list, I rated higher.
This is why I hate this list.
Do yours.
What you on now? 8. You're on 8.
I'm on 8. Yeah. And number 8, you know, like, but number 8, I went for Pepe Reina at number 8. If I could not,
I can't be mad at that.
If I could not have him in the list,
in my team. He's in my team, bro.
If I could not have Pepe Reina in his team, but you know, as a team being a part of a mean defense, and I think he's equal. I think he might have 3.
He had the record for clean sheets for a while.
He had record for clean sheets. Yeah, so I know that you lot had a mean defense at that time, but he was integral to that point. He's only number 8 because of his drop off. I know it's going to sound crazy why I've got Courtois above him, but as I said, he just had a longer stint in the Premier League.
He was the original Ederson. He was the original Ederson.
Yeah. So I went with
Ederson just has a better CV. Sorry.
Yeah. He's in a better team, innit? That Liverpool team did it. What did that Liverpool team really win?
It's only cups.
Yeah.
It's only cups, really.
Yeah.
So we're down to number 7. So funny enough, that's where I've got Courtois. I just thought why he was here for only 126 games, 49 clean sheets in that time, clean sheet average of 38.9%, minutes per goal, 93 minutes per goal conceded against him, 2 Premier League titles, 1 English League Cup and 1 FA Cup. But he was just an excellent goalkeeper. Like, he would stand out. He would win games for Chelsea on his own at that time. And like you said earlier, Lamont, it got him to Chelsea. I mean, he was so good. They loaned him out to Atletico Madrid, and he was like,
they recalled him, didn't they?
They called him back and said, I'm not going to stay unless you get rid of Cech. So they got rid of Cech because he was that good. Yes, Cech was coming towards the end, but he was that good.
But and still, Cech coming towards his end. Yeah, Cech coming towards his end still. He was still very good.
Yeah, he was.
It was one of them.
You know what as well though? It's the drop. There was no drop off afterwards.
Yeah, there wasn't much. Yeah. There wasn't much.
You know, like some teams lose that a goalkeeper like Cech, and then they got to fight like 3-4 years to get another one. You know what I mean? 5 years or whatever.
Just seamless. He just came in. Everyone was like, now we know why you got rid of Cech.
Yeah.
So yes, he might be quite high at number 7, but and listen, he was a good goalkeeper, but like I think similar to what you said, Bevan, I think it's just the fact that it was only 4 years why he probably couldn't be as high as others in my list, because most of the others played 300 or so more. Or Reina was just under 300 games. So yeah, that's my number 7.
All right, so my number 7. I'm not gonna lie, I struggled with this one here because obviously the list was starting to get a little bit dicey, and I was thinking, right, my top 5's coming. I want to make sure certain guys can get in there. I went for Black and Decker, Mr. Alisson Becker. Now, why did I pick him over Reina? You'd ask. There's only one reason why.
No one's asking why. No one's asking.
Well,
the only question I'm asking is why he's number 7.
I mean, he's not going to get in my top 5s because there's some other Donnies in there. We'll go on into that later on. But yeah, Becker, he got in there. Obviously, he got his Premier League, he got Champions League, you know, a couple Super Cup in there and that. Over 150 games for Liverpool. A bag full of clean sheets. I think I wasn't going to add him in there, to be fair. He weren't going to be on my list because obviously there's some other guys in there that I believe, you know, personally, I like better as a kid. Mate, am I saying something? Yeah, that's disrupting.
I'm waiting for you to wake up. Waiting for you to wake up, innit?
Let me finish. So
I'm pinching myself to see this is a dream.
I want to see.
So he's got obviously Golden Gloves, Player of the Season, whatever. I'm not Player of the Season, but you know what I mean, Goalkeeper of the Season, and so on. But yeah, he was integral to, you know, Liverpool's first win, first Premier League win in over was it over 30 years or in 30 years or something like that, wasn't he? When he was he was key.
Man said to me when I mentioned my goalkeeper, he said, "Have you seen his stats? Have you seen his stats?"
I've seen his stats. They're all right. They're not better than some of the other guys that I've got in there. To be honest,
I think you'll find they are. But cool. I think you'll find they are. I've done the research. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah. But anyway, like I said to you, I'm a moments man, and I believe, you know, there was a little bit of sentiment behind it. Obviously, I'm glad that, you know, Liverpool went barren for 30 years for not winning a Premier League title, and he brought it home for them. So well done to you guys. A little round of applause. So yeah, he's my number 7.
My number 7 is Ederson. This seems like I've picked the same guys as you guys, but in just different positions. But I'm with Ederson as the number 7. His clean sheet percentage is around 40%, 44%. It's same kind of
45.6.
Yeah. At some points, like I said, he looked like he was he looked like he was indestructible. He looked like a commanding keeper. It looked like he weren't really gonna concede goals. You kind of trusted him when he was in the team. At the moment, it's kind of waned a little bit, but as James said, it could be because of the centre backs. He's still a good keeper, still good distribution and all that kind of stuff. But I just think that based on longevity and what some of the other keepers have brought, I think there's an argument to have other keepers ahead of him, and there's certain keepers ahead of him that I think have got a bit more presence in some games, and some of these other keepers have kind of saved their teams in a lot of. They've been good goalkeepers in dark moments, and I don't think it's necessarily that for Ederson really. So that's why I've got him at number 7.
Okay. So for me, number 6 is David Seaman. 344 games, 145 clean sheets, clean sheet average of 42.2%, minutes per goals conceded 106, 2 Premier League titles. Obviously, he had one before Premier League, I believe. I think he got 3 altogether, but obviously we're only in Premier League era.
Premier League, yeah.
So FA Cup 4 times, League Cup once, and the Charity Shield 3 times. You know what? It's the longevity of David David Seaman. Technically, he may not have been as good as some of the others, but I think I was a lot younger and in his best days, and I may not have understood how good he was at that time, but I still know he was an excellent goalkeeper. So I look at his minutes, I look at his numbers, and I look at the teams he was part of and how integral he was, even for England as well. So I think he needs to be recognised in the Premier League era. So I'll put him number 6.
He had, before he has the second most clean sheets in the season.
Yeah,
17 clean sheets in the season. I think there was a point where like he, in terms of a keeper with aura, that's a keeper that had aura. I think that defenders would have been scared to play against him.
He was a big guy, innit?
He was a big guy. They were
unit.
Yeah, I think there's just some issues sometimes where he might have. There's some goals that he conceded.
No, it is. He stayed too long. I think it's like I said about another goal. I think he stayed too long, and that maybe hinders his legacy because we actually saw him get old.
But I'm saying that like you can remember there's two goals that stick out that you can remember being scored against David Seaman.
Ronaldinho.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ronaldinho.
And Naeem.
Yeah. Yeah. One of them hurt me more than the other. Really, because
Ronaldinho one, obviously.
No. Yeah. All right. I had to go to school the next day and get taken a mick out of. But I think that like as a keeper, he's one of the first keepers I remember. If a team got a penalty against Arsenal, I thought there was a high percentage he's going to save it.
Yeah,
he did have that.
That's fair.
He did have that thing about him.
That's fair. So yeah, that's my number 6.
Your number 6, yeah?
Yeah, go on, Lamont.
No, that was Bevan's number 6, no? Seaman.
No, mine.
Oh, no, it's yours, so my bad. All right, cool. So my number 6 is Courtois, obviously. A little bit of chop and changing. He's a bit further up the list. He's my number 6. You guys already touched on it earlier. Again, he was a huge keeper. Huge. And I feel like, that in itself kind of bring a presence. And I've picked him at number 6. I don't think there's much more to say because we touched on it already.
My number 6 is going to upset someone in here right now.
Go on.
My number 6 is Mr. Becker. I've gone to Alisson at number 6. He is a great goalie. There's just other goalies on this list that I believe have been in this league, or in the league a lot longer, and their impact. I think their impact on the league and what they've done was greater. And when especially when you say my number 5, you can be like, what? But for me, the greatest ability is availability, and there's a lot of times when he's not available. So I think it becomes difficult to put him ahead. He's a great goalie. If we're doing this on goalies that are just that play but don't play full seasons, then he'd be number 1.
That was the biggest credit minus credit. He gave you kudos and took it away in one fell swoop. Why does James look like he wants to log off? He looks like he's fed up already.
Fair enough. We all see you with different eyes, as they say.
We definitely do.
Okay, so my number 5 is David De Gea. 415 games, 148 clean sheets, clean sheet average of 35.7, minutes per goal average 84, 1 Premier League title, 2 Europa League titles, 1 FA Cup winner, League Cup twice, and he won the Charity Shield 3 times. But he had a really, really good spell. He started off poor, very poor. Like, who is this guy?
He was touching goal.
He had a really good spell in front of you could argue, top 3 centre-back partnerships in Premier League history. They nurtured him through, they helped him to grow with him, Vidic and Rio Ferdinand. And I think that helped him a lot to get to where he got to.
Big personalities, isn't it? Big personalities.
Yeah, but he fell off. He fell off big time, to the point where Man United fans asking for him to be kicked out of the team. So why he was there, like his numbers don't lie, and what he won as a Man United goalkeeper, it's not as good as other Man United goalkeepers. But I think he had a 2-3 year spell where he changed how our goalkeeping was with his feet, not kicking wise, but the way he saved shots, the way he blocked shots. Normally you think, okay, that's going in because going through goalkeeper's legs. He's got a foot somewhere, and he was a scourge of Liverpool time after time. The amount of times he got man in the match against us, it was just annoying. But yeah, he makes my 5th because, like you guys have said, I think that there are 4 guys better than him, and that's it. This is it for me.
So there's a couple of things that we've been talking about through the pod so far. Aura, I personally don't feel like he had the natural aura. He didn't come in with it, but he definitely developed some kind of personality working with the guys that he was working with. So when he done certain things in a game, saves and whatever or not, taking the ball out of the crotch of a corner of the net, that would lift the spirit of the team without a doubt. Bevan touched on something earlier on, talking about when the team's in dark moments and you can look to like an individual to just pick them up and bring some light to, what they're trying to transition and trying to do progressively. I feel like De Gea was our guy for a lot of that. Like we had and have in, but during his period, there was a lot of dark moments on, the tail end. And you could look to him.
He was at fault.
Man of the matches. He was getting golden gloves still. Like he was literally still the guy. But we just weren't able to capitalize on it like we was Man United of old. So I say what when you say his name at 5th, but I understand it. Do you know what I mean? It's weird. It's like, I get it. I have to kind of take my Man United hat off as much as struggle to do that. But yeah, I get it.
When he fell off, he fell off.
Yeah, it was drastic.
He was causing you problems.
Yeah,
you know what?
it's
Before you
true.
got rid of him, he was causing you problems.
And there's
bro.
one more thing. Go on, B. Go on, say what you're going to say, because I had one more thing.
The craziest thing about the fall off is even when he fell off, he still won Golden Glove at the fall off. There were still times when you were keeping him in the team. I've heard Man United fans say that they'd prefer him over Onana. And I think
he's made a resurgence in Fiorentina, to be fair.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can't. I've got no issue with him being fifth. Yeah, because as you said, he had United at some points. United were in a bad place, and he was keeping them. There were times he was keeping them in games. I remember there's a game Arsenal playing United at the Emirates. And he made like 14 saves. He was immense.
He earned his money.
He earned
his money, mate. Trust me, he definitely earned his money. But there was one more thing I think either you or Bevan touched on, Jay. When you was talking about when the goalkeeping mindset went from hands to feet.
Yeah.
He struggled massively. And that's when for me his drop off was telling.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He couldn't transition over. But yeah, that was it really. That was my last point.
But
so moving over to my number 5. Okay, so I've gone for Petr Cech. Now
I'm gonna say what?
At 5.
Right.
I'm gonna say what?
Listen. No, hold on, sorry, my bad. No. He's not coming up yet. I just got my order mixed round. That was meant to be Edwin van der Sar. I do apologise. So Edwin van der Sar, he played obviously at Fulham United in the Premier League. That was literally for me. Again, I know we touched on it earlier. He didn't have that many games for United, but he did have a presence. He came with a certain type of calm. He wasn't irrational. You know, I feel like he came with a mature head, so he did kind of help us to kind of, push on and win a few more titles whilst, Fergie was on point pretty much. I know you don't really understand what it means to win them volumes of like Premier League titles in like a, over a stint at a time, Jay. I know it's tough to kind of think about, but Edwin van der Sar definitely brought some kind of maturity to the team, and I feel like he was integral to us. So for me, he's our number 5. He's got obviously Golden Glove. He got in there, I think, over 50 clean sheets. He played over 130 games in the Premier League. And yeah, I think, everyone can recognise Edwin van der Sar as being one of the best keepers in the Premier League.
Okay, so my number 5, we've already touched on it, and my number 5 is David De Gea. And for a lot of the reasons that we've already spoken about, so I don't really want to repeat it for the month's sake, because can't keep giving him props or his team props.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we move on to number 4.
Yeah, move on to number 4. Edwin van der Sar, for me, is number 4. 313 appearances in the Premier League, 136 clean sheets, 43.5% clean sheet average. Minutes per goal, 92. 4 Premier League titles, Champions League winner once, FIFA Club World Cup winner once, English League Cup winner twice, and he won the Charity Shield 3 times. Listen, he was a very good goalkeeper. Came to Man United later, obviously had a fantastic time at Ajax. Then he went to Juventus, was really not really good there. Then Fulham was like, okay, cool, he's still a good goalkeeper. And then Man United signed him, and it was like, okay, he is a really good goalkeeper still. And it just, Man United breathed new life into him, and he was excellent at Man United, to be honest. 4 titles in that period of time he was there.
Yep.
So there's not much more you can say.
James, you know what? Yeah, in Ferguson's time with goalkeepers, I know a lot of people questioned this signing. You know that before he actually put his gloves on, a lot of people questioned, like, really, he's at the end of his career, kind of thing. And there was a lot of questions on Edwin.
Yeah,
but
he proved
paid dividends.
He proved goalkeepers can play longer. You don't have to be 28 as a goalkeeper, and your peak is running down. He proved you can play within your mid-30s, early 30s, and still be elite. And he was world class still at Man United at that late age.
That's like like sometimes you get a keeper that is at a top team. Like for example, you got Brad Friedel at Liverpool, who wasn't good at Liverpool, but then
Yeah.
goes to Blackburn with less pressure and
Yeah.
performs. And then Van der Sar's kind of done the reverse. He's at Fulham, goes to United with massive pressure, and then and brings them a Premier League title where they hadn't won one in 3 years. And before you're talking about Roy Carroll and
Taibbi and people like that.
Yeah, Tim Howard, who was a good goalie.
Tim Howard, Tim Howard was all right.
He's not at Man United though.
But he wasn't. He
he was better at Everton. He was better at Everton, for sure.
Chalk and cheese.
That's the Brad Friedel effect, isn't it? The same kind of thing.
Yeah,
he's gone to a team with less pressure and has done better. But Van der Sar's come into that United team and won the Premier League. And didn't he win the Champions League?
Who?
Van der Sar.
Van der Sar, yeah.
He won.
Yeah, Van der Sar won the Champions League.
Yeah, he won it. He won it against Chelsea.
Yeah. So that's I couldn't agree with that.
Okay, so that was my one, isn't it? That was my number 4.
That's your number 4, yeah.
So
my number 4.
Then.
Yeah. All right. So my number 4, we touched on it earlier. Ederson. He's my number 4. I think we went through all his accolades and stuff. I'm pretty sure. Did we mention the fact that he's got lots of golden gloves? Not lots of golden gloves, but he's got a few golden gloves on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, he said Ederson.
He said Ederson.
Yeah. I think we touched on it.
I think he's got one golden glove.
I think he's got one. Yeah, he's got one from what I could see. I couldn't find anything.
I think he's got one, if any. Yeah. I think I even saw any when I looked. I look again.
Do you know what
I look again.
Yeah, I think. Do you know what? With Ederson, I think a lot of it is just his ability to play. It's just unreal to watch him play. It's a sight to behold. Obviously, he's more of a new age keeper, isn't it? So I think everybody would look at him and say, right, well, this is not what goalkeeping is about, but in this day and age, it definitely is. You need to be able to play with your feet. And unfortunately, I feel like he's better with his feet than he is with his hands. But when you're playing with a team that is as strong as City are, I don't think you have to worry too much about how much shots you're going to face because they're going to retain the ball more than anything. So, yeah, Ederson for me.
3 golden gloves.
There you go.
My number 4, I went with David Seaman because I needed something to talk about in this in this podcast. We don't seem to produce many decent goalies. Premier League domestic team in a decade, 2 clean sheets. I mean, 2 clean sheet awards. Hall of Famer, as I said, had presence and won 2 Premier Leagues. So I went with David James. I mean, David James did the same thing. David Seaman. That's my number 4. Definitely didn't go with David James.
I said that too, bro. Yeah. Don't worry. The world trod the road. Okay, so that's yours. So my number 3 is Peter Schmeichel. Not much you can say. 310 appearances.
Sorry? There's a lot you can say.
310
There's
appearances.
A lot you can say.
129 clean sheets. 41.6% clean sheet average. 96 minutes per goals conceded. But 5 league titles. 1 Champions League winner. Super Cup once. FA Cup 3 times. League Cup once. Super Cup twice. So he's undoubtedly top 3 in the Premier League. So not much you can say really because he was that good.
There is a lot you can say.
You need to start
that. You need to start that.
You need
to start that with sorry.
That you've had your time. That
he needed.
Thank you. Schmeichel is undoubtedly world-class goalkeeper, and he was and is a Man United legend, a Premier League legend. But he's been spoken about through the pantheons of decades of Premier League football. So you don't need to say much about Schmeichel because if he's not in your top 3 list, then you don't know football. Simple.
Facts.
Yeah.
So there's not much for you to say about Schmeichel because it's already been written.
That's the original
Is
keeper.
that good enough for you?
I mean, it should have led with sorry.
No.
I'm gonna let it pass.
No.
All right. On that, my number 3. I think I've made a bit of a mix up here, but yeah, my number 3 is Petr Cech, and I'm basing that on obviously the top 2. I honestly do believe, in my opinion, are top 2. Yeah, I mean, he was at 2 very good sides, yeah, being Chelsea and Arsenal, arguably, and I think he was recognised as being their lifesavers on a lot of occasions. He was very stable. Again, I feel like he came with a similar presence to Edwin van der Sar in terms of the maturity level. You know, he never looked like he was under any pressure. He looked like he was he had the control of the team, the back line, and, you know, he also had their ear as well in terms of, you know, they'd listen when he was, you know, trying to kind of, you know, tell them what steps to take and, you know, rolling the ball out if he wanted to play short or if he wanted to go long. Like, everyone was very confident in his ability. I mean, over 400 games, over 200 clean sheets. If I'm not mistaken, that's got to be one of the highest, if not the highest clean sheet in the Premier League. We might have to check that stat though, Jay. But I'm pretty sure it's one of the highest.
I think he's got the highest. He's got the highest. It
is the highest.
He's got the
207
clean sheet record.
207. There you go. You know, he had 4 or so Golden Gloves. He was named countless amount of times in Player of the Season, as everybody will probably agree. It was definitely deserved. But yeah, Petr Cech was definitely recognised as, you know, one of the greatest, man. So yeah, he's made my top 3.
My number 3 is Edwin van der Sar, and we've kind of touched it on length, but for me, picking him at number 3, you're talking about a keeper in his later years that's gone to United and won them a Premier League after they went through some dodgy keepers, and he was commanding. I think it was even Rio that said that once he played with Van der Sar, he knew that he had someone behind him that was safe, and he didn't have to worry about making a mistake or anything like that because Van der Sar would be there to save him. So that's why I've gone with Van der Sar at number 3.
Okay. My number 2 is Alisson Becker.
Of course it is.
Alisson Becker, 207 games, 92 clean sheets in 207 games. Clean sheet average of 44.4%. Minutes per goals conceded, 105, which is second out of all the lists that we had. Premier League titles won, Champions League winner once, Super Cup, UEFA Super Cup once, World Club Cup once, FA Cup winner once, and League Cup winner twice. And you guys mentioned it more than once, Aura. When he came to the Premier League, that Liverpool team, no one even thought of them as anything. Then he got signed, along with Van Dijk, admittedly. He came in, and we went from almost to being a threat. And he just made the whole back line of Liverpool different. The style of goalkeeping, obviously we're talking about Ederson taken to another level in terms of footwork. But he was there just before Ederson, where the footwork came into play properly into football. Cool, chipping it over. I remember in his first 4 or 5 games, a striker was running at him and he chipped it over his head, controlled it, and then passed it. And I was like, what am I seeing from a goalkeeper? Not even inside his box. It was outside of his box doing that.
Yeah.
And he just he rose the levels of goalkeeping in the Premier League. And he has had his injuries of late. Like you said, I know it wasn't tongue-in-cheek, but the injuries haven't been as widespread as you say. The last couple of years, yes. But before that, it wasn't there. And hopefully we get to the bottom of that. But he's been an immense goalkeeper. And his numbers speak for themselves. And yes, call it crying, call it if you want. Like I said to you earlier, he was the guy I was talking about, him and Ederson. If he was Man City's goalkeeper, he would have all those 6 titles that Man City had. And he's a better goalkeeper. So that's what I say, you can't just look at the stats in terms of what they've won, because his ability for me is way above Ederson's. And he was obviously quite far down our list of top 10. But I just think, and there will be bias because I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm not going to deny it. I'm sure there is bias when I look at it. But when I look at him and I look at through the goalkeepers through the Premier League era, I only see one goalkeeper better than him. And like I said, a lot of people say it's biased, and it probably is. But for me, he's such a good goalkeeper.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's much argument against it. I think he's in the top 10. But yeah, I feel
not far from 50% clean sheet record, you know.
I know. And
my last point, he's not in a team where you had defensive centre back. You had Trent, who couldn't defend in his years, and you had Robbo that was up there. So to have that record.
Yeah, but you
had to have that record. We had Fabinho. Yes, we had Fabinho. Yeah. But at the same time, to have a lot of the other goalkeepers we look at, the back four was so solid that he kept clean sheets. A lot of it is because of his one-on-one. That's one-on-one. He's one of the best I've ever seen one-on-one. One-on-one, he scares strikers where they just kick it straight at him. But the other person that was just as good as him was Schmeichel, of course.
Yeah,
Schmeichel was just as good one-on-one.
That's the
I'm not that biased.
That's the original.
He was the original.
Yeah. He's the original aura keeper. Where the strikers were afraid of Petr Schmeichel.
So that was your number 2, right?
That's my number 2.
Yeah, so my number 2 is De Gea. I know you guys had him further down the pecking order, but, you know, he's my number 2. And I think I touched on all of, you know, the chat earlier on in reference to, you know, him helping us in the dark days and all that kind of jazz. So, yeah, he's been recognised. He played a lot of games for United and he helped us a hell of a lot in our dark days, man. Mm-hmm. So he deserves a top 2 place. I'm not going to go on too much.
My number 2 is Petr Schmeichel. Listen, Petr Schmeichel, yeah, for that 8 years that he was at United, he was the greatest goalie in the Premier League. And he made some outrageous saves. And the player going in 1-on-1 with Petr Schmeichel, you did not really think. There were times when I know as United fans, you thought he was going to save it. That whether it's the starfish thing that he did, was amazing. I think that he is. It's hard to not put him as number 1, but the keeper I did have at number 1. I think that like when I looked at like his accolades and the how long he did it for, it's a toss up, and really it's like, am I putting Petr Schmeichel in there because of what I remember when I was younger, or do I put in who I've got
because he's the best keeper in the Premier League? That's why you would put him number 1. But
bro, like I'm saying that when you look at who I've put at number 1, I don't think anyone could really say. I don't think anyone could say there's a wrong or right answer here.
Yeah, you're right. I agree.
No, there's definitely a right answer.
I agree.
I can promise you that.
For my United fans, there's only what there's
no United fans. Nothing, bro. It's what it is.
No, listen. You're gonna say that Petr Schmeichel's number 1 based off of how commanding he was. Yeah, he's got the Premier Leagues. Yeah, he's got a Champions League. And yeah, he was a great keeper. And yeah, there were some outrageous saves that he did make. But anyway, we will.
You don't just explain stuff to him.
It's fine.
But even that's what we're doing.
No. I know.
Don't worry, it's hurt. It's cool.
This is hurting me. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so it's down to me. My number 1 is obviously obvious because it hasn't been mentioned yet in the whole list. And To be honest, for a while I did have Alisson as number 1, but that was just too biased. I couldn't actually go ahead of that. So it was Petr Cech. Petr Cech, his numbers, I'm pretty sure he has the record. I think Chelsea conceded 16 goals in a season when he was in goal. I mean, come on, 16 goals. Yes, that's not just a goalkeeper, that's the defence as well. And it's also a defensive-minded manager, Mourinho. But still, they won a league title doing that, 16 goals. So I'll go to his accolades. 443 appearances. I think that's the most out of all the goalkeepers we had in our top 10. 205 clean sheets, which is just mad. 207, clean sheets. Clean sheet average, 46.7. I think that was the highest out of all the guys we had. And minutes per goals against, the highest again, 108 minutes per goal. 4 Premier League titles, only one behind Schmeichel, with 2 teams, I believe. Am I wrong? No, one team.
No,
I see.
just Chelsea.
FA Cup. It's FA Cup with 2 teams.
Yeah.
Champions League winner, Europa League winner, FA Cup 5 times, 1 with Arsenal, 4 with Chelsea, League Cup 3 times, and the Charity Shield 4 times. So he won everything, realistically, including Europa League. Obviously, Schmeichel never got to that level with Man United because Man United were the best in and around Europe in that time. But he even done it at that level at that time. Not now, because they're trash now. Anyway, move on. Petr Cech.
Soap and water.
It was just brilliant. It was just brilliant. And like I said about Schmeichel, there's not much more you can say because he did everything. He had a fractured skull. Came back and he was only slightly worse than he was before. He came back and still won stuff. He came back and still dominated in the air. He came back and still showed his brilliance. And as you said, he became a goalkeeper in a different sport as well. He even came back and went to France. And then I know we were talking Premier League. We went to France and he got goalkeeper in the year in France after leaving Arsenal.
Yeah. You can't knock him. You can't knock Petr Cech.
Bro,
all jokes aside, you can't knock him. The geezer's, he's a consummate professional, innit? And I feel like
go, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, across, all the keepers, you can't find too many mistakes with his name next to it. You know what I mean? He did make a few, but not loads, not loads at all. Did you have Petr Schmeichel in your top 10, James?
No, he was 13th for my list.
He had him 13.
Can I be honest? I'm going to be honest with you here. Yeah? I'm going to be honest with all the viewers. Hold on.
He's not paying attention, is he?
You weren't listening. You weren't listening. You know what it is? It's because you didn't have him number 1. That's why he didn't hear.
Exactly.
That's why he switched off. He switched off.
Let me tell you something that my mum's told me, and your mum has probably told you many times. You have 1 mouth and 2 ears. Listen twice as hard, my friend. He was number 3.
I know. It's still hurting my feelings.
Number 3 on my list.
I'm not gonna lie. It's still hurting my feelings.
Schmeichel was number 3 on my list, bro.
As everyone will probably guess, Schmeichel's my numero uno. After hearing War and Peace from James, I'm not gonna lie. Petr Cech is, he's definitely credible for your number 1, James. So I'm not gonna knock him too much, man. The geezer's, he's proper. There's not much in it between him and Schmeichel in terms of personality, consistency, accolades and so on and so forth. I think Cech's pipped Schmeichel on the most amount of clean sheets in one season, if I'm not mistaken. I think Cech's got like 24 or something like that. I think Schmeichel got like 21, and that was held for a while. But again, I call it like I see it. I said to you, and I said it to you during the pod, and I've said it to you every week. Football's about moments, man, and Schmeichel knew how to lock in and make sure that he gets the team that he's playing for over the line. The geezer is a champion. He's a leader of men. He is an icon, a legend. He's everything that you would look for in a professional footballer in terms of, personality-wise, confidence, how to kind of galvanize your team. He was the ultimate. So for me, Schmeichel's number one, and I don't think anybody on here that's been watching our pods would expect anything less.
From you.
Yeah.
Of course, from you.
From us. To be fair, from us.
Schmeichel
But
won.
yeah.
De Gea too. Yeah, no one's expecting it from you.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Petr Cech was third though. So
Yeah, no, fair enough. And Petr Cech was number one for me as well. When the guy was at one point, the guy was like RoboCop. Then he got his head injured, and he turned into Murphy. But he was still immense. There were times when Chelsea were playing, and you did not think Petr Cech was going to concede a goal, bros. That guy rarely made any mistakes. So I think that like the clean sheets speak for itself. 15 clean sheets. I know he's got the best defense, but 15 clean sheets in a season is absolutely ridiculous. That is crazy. And yeah, when he's gone to Arsenal and he wasn't necessarily as good, but he still won an FA Cup. He still won a FA Cup with us.
15. It was 24 in the season.
24, brother.
No.
24.
Sorry,
for Chelsea.
I meant not clean sheets. I meant goals conceded. 15 goals conceded. 24 clean sheets. Yeah, but 15 goals conceded. My bad. But that's what I meant. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. And you can talk about defenses all you want, but some of us got to come down to the keeper. He's got to make some saves at some point. So like,
they had a very good defense though, B.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
They did. He's even got 162 clean sheets for one club. It's him as well. 162 for Chelsea.
Yeah, Mourinho went there for all of those games.
Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't.
Yeah,
he's only there for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough and it's hard. But when I looked at it and I looked at all of his accolades, I'm thinking, you know what? Like as great as Petr Schmeichel was, I think that he's potentially was a better keeper. No, potentially he was. So we got.
So that was the top 10. So we were gonna do. Top 5, but I think we ran out of time. So we're probably gonna do top 3. Do you agree with that? Or do you still want to stick with top 5?
Top 3 is fine.
Top 3 is fine, yeah.
Top 3. So it's going to be quite easy now because my top 3 was Schmeichel, Alisson, and Cech. Lamont, your top 3
was Schmeichel. Sorry, I lost my screen here, mate.
I think you had Schmeichel,
De Gea,
Cech,
and Cech.
And Bevan
was Cech, Schmeichel, and Van der Sar.
So even though we'd normally go 3-2-1, by 2-1, Cech wins the best goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Schmeichel would come second because all 3 of us had Schmeichel.
Schmeichel comes second, yeah.
Third choice, it's a toss-up in the end because we had a different person for each one. I had Alisson, you had Van der Sar, and you had David De Gea. So I don't think we're going to find. Well, unless we want to debate it between just that one position.
I mean, who's the 3 guys?
I don't think we'll agree.
I don't think we would agree.
I don't think we'll agree. If I'm being honest.
I don't think there's any agreement there, really.
So I think the only agreement we can say is Cech is number 1, and literally by 0.1, Schmeichel was right behind him. By what we've done.
Yeah.
So
there's not going to be too much argument in there.
No, I've said it at the beginning of the podcast, and I'll say it again. I'd like to thank everybody for helping us get to 200 subscribers. It's been a journey, but it's been a very enjoyable journey. And just want to thank all of you guys for watching, for sharing, for commenting, for subscribing. And we are pushing for another 100 quicker than we got to the first 200. So, once again,
Agreed.
thank you guys, and keep on watching because there's lots more to come from us. So, that has been our Premier League best goalkeeper, and it has been almost unanimous, that Petr Cech is the number one. But I'm pretty sure begrudgingly Lamont agrees. But as we all know, he's Man United through and through. He's probably got Man United t-shirt and tattoo and everything underneath that. So see, there you go. There you go. So it's no surprise he had number one Man U and number two Man U. But yeah, this is the first of a few. Obviously, we'll be doing others as well. We'll probably push them around a bit quicker because there's no more international breaks. So they will come around quicker. So we'll do best left back, best centre backs, best right back, and so on until we've got to the best striker. So don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. Don't forget to share and to hit that notification bell. This has been Armchair Pundits. Thank you very much. Take it easy, guys.
Peace.
Laters.